What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some r/relationships. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. Now, just a huge thank you to each and every one of you for taking some time out of your day to be here. Spending 20 minutes or so listening to a story or two means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for doing you. Let's just crack straight on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. My 29 male, soon-to-be ex-husband seems to feel entitled to another chance with me. 28 female. And there is an update to this post as well, so we're going to cover that straight after. My husband and I have been together for almost 8 years, married for 2.5 of those. Last May 2019, we separated seemingly overnight. He left me and our toddler and moved back to his hometown. There was never a solid reason given, just that he felt that we should never gotten married. In July, he changed his tune and wanted to be a family again. He was still at his job in his hometown, so I decided I would ride it out at my job in a different city for a couple of months to build my resume and then start looking for other jobs in his hometown. After 6 months of a brutal commute, taking care of our child during the week by myself and driving to his hometown every weekend, interviewing, basically bending over backwards, I finally landed a great job in December. A week before I was to move into the new house we were buying together and start my new job, I found out he'd been having an affair. He begged and pleaded with me to stay with him, said he'd break off all contact, and I foolishly agreed to give him another chance. 2 days later, while I was back in the different city and completing my last week of work at my old job, he unblocked her on everything and liked her pictures on Instagram. I was devastated. On top of that shit show, he kicked me out of the house we were supposed to move in together and had to find a new place to live 2 days before starting my new position. We have lived separately ever since. He had said and done so many hateful things in this time period, and said so many times that he wants a divorce that I've lost count. Up until a month ago, he was still maintaining contact with her. I saw her car at his house, took pictures for the lawyers, etc., and he admitted he'd been talking with her still. I stopped doing the pick me dance about a month ago and stopped reaching out to him besides contacting about our child. Now he's suddenly changed his tune and is desperate to get me back and will do anything. He has unfollowed her on everything, unliked all her pictures, tells me not to give up on our family. I've moved on. I'm not interested in pursuing another relationship with him. He's hurt me deeply and I feel like I've been fucked over by him so many times that I've lost count. How can I tell him there isn't a chance without sounding like a complete heartless person? I still want to be able to maintain a strong co-parenting relationship with him, so I am friendly to him. But he seems to take that as I want him back. I've relayed to him my feelings, but they fall on deaf ears. He says he will never stop trying to get our family back together and does not want a divorce. I do. Does anyone have advice? Edited to add, just to show the kind of person he is. When I asked him about the reason for his sudden change of heart, he said it was because I seemed stronger. The irony. Honestly, a big thank you to the prick for yanking the rug under my feet not once but twice, because I truly have realised how much better I can do and how I don't need anyone but myself to have a happy life. Second edit, seriously thank you to everyone who has read my story and commented. You have no idea how much it's helped me focus on myself and realising I need to stop considering the feelings of someone who has no consideration of mine. I hope that anyone who is in a similar situation realises that you can and you do move on, and I promise that you will feel like a £10,000 weight has been lifted off your back. Third edit, he is being served papers in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Guarantee the I've changed mask slips off. I hope I'm wrong, but I've learned all too well that my gut feelings are usually spot on. Hopefully I'll be back with an update in a few months with the good news that the split is official. I've only got one little comment on this, is that he had the gall to call you heartless after everything he's done to you. What an absolute shitty person. Now we're going to cover some comments first and then we're going to move straight to the update. So we had Olivia Pristine says, you are not heartless for being direct about your feelings, and even if you were, why would you be so careful about his feelings when he cares so little for yours? You need a lawyer to come up with a custody agreement. You do not need to be friendly with him to co-parent effectively. You just need to be cordial and do not disparage him in front of your child. And a name that I can't pronounce for some reason says, my ex feels entitled to a relationship with me. Filed under, how awesome for him. See also, no, is a complete answer. You're concerned about appearing like a heartless person to someone who not only acted heartlessly to you, but abandoned your child. Stop giving consideration and concern to people who've gone out of their way to give you neither. Here's what you tell him. Trust is one of the most important aspects of a relationship, and you've destroyed my ability to ever trust you. There can be no more chances because there is no more trust. If you want to prove yourself trustworthy, do it by being a good father and prove it to our child, because the only future relationship we have is co-parents. And OP also says, also I realised my old post did not age well. I feel so fucking stupid that I believed him and didn't think he'd cheat. Mayor of Foolville checking in. And there's just multiple posts on their post history saying like about them getting back together and how they can work it out and things like that. And poor, you just got to feel sorry for the person in this situation, man. Wow. Anyway, now we're going to move straight to the update with update. My 29 male, soon to be ex-husband seems to feel entitled to another chance with me. 28 female. Well, turns out my gut instincts were right. The entire time he was begging for another chance and promising this time would be different. Eye roll. He was still sleeping with the affair partner and telling him he loved her and would do anything to make it work with her. It didn't even hurt me to find it out. I was that unsurprised. It just helped me stop feeling guilty. I divorced his ass. I thank the universe every day that he is no longer connected to me in a romantic way. It feels like an enormous weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Shortly after my original post, I met someone by chance at a wedding and fell in love. This person is everything my ex-husband was not. The kindness, compassion, and respect they show, not just me, but to my daughter as well, is like something from a dream. I never knew love could be so easy. To anyone in a loveless marriage reading this, leave. Do the hard thing, especially if they have a pattern of leaving, returning and cheating, etc. Lord knows I was terrified to cut the cord. At one point in time, I was actually starting to feel bad for the guy because he was begging me every single day for another chance. He tried to convince me that getting a divorce would ruin my future, our daughter's future, that she would come from a broken family. But it was the exact opposite. It was broken already and I fixed it. Once I made up my mind that divorce was the best option, I absolutely thrived. I learned independence. I found how to be happy on my own. I found happiness in a partner. Life has never been so sweet. The bad shit makes the good shit look so much better. Thank you, Reddit, for the support on my original post. It helped turn my graveyard into a garden. And that is the way it should end. What a great ending to a story, and what do you make of the whole situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to the next story. And our next story is from a throwaway account. When I, 34 female, told my boyfriend, 36 male, I frequently feel judged, scrutinized by him. He told me there are a million things he doesn't say. Do I need to change my perspective, or are we incompatible? And again, there's another update to this post. I think I'm just going to cover updates today, so why not, right? We are closing in on 2 years together. I'd say we spend 80% of our free time together. He still pays rent at his place, but pretty much lives here. As time goes on, I've noticed an increasing sense of uneasiness when I'm doing practically anything in his presence. Many times he will flat out correct something I'm doing that he sees as wrong. Sometimes it just feels like he makes patronizing comments. A lot of it feels like I'm being constantly observed, and he is barely able to keep himself from saying something about how I'm doing something or why I'm doing something this way versus that way. For a while, I saw a lot of this as him trying to be helpful. This general attitude isn't directed solely at me. I see him treat his family and friends similarly. He is someone who likes routine and seems to struggle with uncertainty. Everything has a right and wrong way in his eyes. I'm more of a, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care person. The problem I'm having is twofold. My self-esteem has taken a real hit being constantly corrected or feel like I'm always doing everything wrong. I find myself judging myself about things that have never mattered to me. The several arguments and conversations about this have been extremely unsuccessful. When I try to point out specifically what is making me feel judged, he will argue that I'm trying to twist everything into something negative, or he was just trying to help. He sees me telling him I don't like the way he is treating me, as telling him he's wrong and we can never seem to get past this part. I continue trying to explain exactly why I'm feeling judged, almost trying to prove to him that he will almost say anything to defend himself. A recent example. We were going to be passing his brother's house on our way to run an errand. I decided to throw some roses that were already to be cut in a vase and leave them on the porch for his sister-in-law. Just a spontaneous friendly gesture. Nothing fancy. When I put them by the door, as we were preparing to leave, he said, "Wow, that one looks crazy." I barely acknowledged this, just kind of shrugged. Are you going to put a twine bow on this one? I recently put an amateur arrangement together for his mum, where I did. I said, nah, I think you wrapped the last one too many times. I think if you wrapped it twice, it would look better. His comments got in my head, and I ended up taking them back into the kitchen to rearrange them. He came into the kitchen and pointed out that one of the flowers was falling out. My eyes almost got stuck rolling. A couple hours later, it was affecting my mood. I tried to talk to him about how that kind of interference into what I'm doing is what makes me feel like everything I'm doing is scrutinized. I learned he meant crazy as in good. He thought that I didn't like the bow on the last one, so he was just trying to help. I'm trying to fight him and twist everything into being negative. What is sticking with me is the revelation he sees issues with millions of things about me but doesn't say anything. I'm worried about being with someone who sees millions of things I do as wrong. Am I viewing someone else's opinion as judgment? Am I seeing this clearly? Am I being too sensitive? A few other examples. Did you get a lot done today? Versus, how did your day, or did you have a good day? These are the pants you wear when you want to look homeless, referring to a pair of pants that had a few stains I was wearing around the house. And, I like your hair best when you do big curls with a curling iron. Then I like it straight next. And this, while pointing to my naturally wavy curly hair, is when my baby does nothing. I put shorts on out to the dry that were a little damp around the waistband. Oh no, these shorts are still wet. I don't want you to get sick or mess up your pH balance. Not sure what this even means. I realise I might sound paranoid at this point. I probably am. And we're just going to cover one comment on this one, which I think is a pretty good one. So M Leak says, he's in the wrong and you're becoming overly sensitive to his constantly low grade casual unkindness, which is normal. You know how if you already have a bruise, it hurts extra when someone knocks it, even if they knock it very gently on accident. Maybe they didn't even realise the bruise was there, but still, it hurts extra. Your boyfriend's constant stream of critiques has left you bruised, all over. At this point it doesn't matter if he meant crazy as in good, you're badly bruised all over. Every little tap hurts, no matter what his intention was. If you can acknowledge the dynamic he has been a large part of creating, then you two could possibly, with a counsellor, work out some healthier and more respectful communication patterns, where you get to heal and feel secure and safe, and you can accept and he can offer comments or opinions without causing you pain. But that only works if he recognises his behaviour is a problem that is hurting you and the relationship. If he doesn't or won't, then you should walk away ASAP. Don't sign up for a lifetime of this. And I really like that comment just because of the whole bruise analogy, and I think it's just so true. And we're going to move straight to an update on this one now to see what it says. So update, when I, 34 female, told boyfriend 36 male, I frequently feel judged and scrutinised by him. He told me there are a million things he doesn't say. Do I need to change my perspective, or are we incompatible? First, thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. I remember exactly how confused and mentally exhausted I was at that point. Reading the responses and having my feelings validated by a bunch of internet strangers gave me the confidence to know I wasn't being too sensitive. Fuck that. It also got me out of a constant state of rumination about what was happening to me and why I felt so off and not myself, and led me to act. I told him I wanted space and that if we were both trying our best and our relationship felt like this, we had a huge problem. I also told him that at some point he had stopped treating me like his girlfriend and started treating me like a defective human being, and I was over it and wouldn't continue to invest my time and energy into someone who treated me this way. Those first few days I spent alone were like a fucking vacation. I couldn't believe how amazing it felt to do simple, everyday things without his constant interference and judgment. At the same time, I did start to notice some things I was blaming him for being critical of me were really areas I was insecure and being critical of myself. I spent more time over the next few months investing in myself and improving certain areas of my life. Our relationship seemed to improve slightly over the next few months. The micromanaging and criticism really improved, or I thought they improved. He might have just changed tactics. I think he started triangulating and upping the ante with the innocent insults. I think I had gotten better at dealing with it and probably lowered the bar even more. In the fall, I had my first ever sciatica flare-up. It was agonising pain almost constantly. It lasted 8 weeks and I was trying everything. Physical therapy, anti-inflammatories, biofreeze, ice, not moving, powering through the pain. He was all over it after a few weeks and started treating me like I was a lazy slob. I felt so scared and helpless about how much pain I was in and if it was ever going to get better, or would I need surgery. The added stress of it trying to be a good partner was horrible. I'm not sure why this instance of selfishness had more impact, but I felt something change inside of me in a profound way. Of course, when I tried to talk to him about it, it went very poorly. The argument ended when he mocked me for crying and asked me why I couldn't talk to him like a normal person. I can't remember when it started, but I began to have physical responses during any kind of conflict with him. Sort of like fight or flight maybe. My hands start shaking, I start feeling overwhelmed and confused, my stomach is flipping, and eventually the tears come. This comment from my original post rings true. End quotes. It seriously sounds like a low-key getaway to emotional abuse. I can't imagine his BS only starts and stops at just hacking away at OP's self-worth and then gaslighting her about what's happening. Those people get worse as the relationship goes on, not better. And then says the BS certainly didn't stop there. There were so many instances during our relationship where I felt he had lied to me. There were constant interactions where my instincts told me he was being inauthentic or he was hiding something or not giving me all the details. The addictions, the attention he gave women on social media, always needing someone to blame, an almost embarrassing inability to take accountability. I still feel pretty conflicted about what I did. I went through his phone. I started by looking for a couple of specific times in the beginning of our relationship when my mind had flagged something as off or a lie, but I had no idea why. Like when he insisted we go drop a bottle of champagne off to a friend of his as a congratulations for getting the job. At the time, I couldn't place what felt off about this. I look at texts from the specific date and I know that they were really there to deliver cocaine. When I was able to confirm what my instincts told me were lies, it was off to the races. It was all pretty bad. He was on Tinder for the first 6 months we were together, Bumble for 9, and Plenty of Fish for 11. All texts with other women deleted, secret drug use. It's hard to even remember everything, but I try to confirm what I felt to be lies. There is definitely a ton of anger and sadness, but more than anything else, I felt relief. Everything my instincts have been telling me since the beginning have been accurate, and I've been fighting a losing battle against them. It felt freeing. Why have I continued this relationship in spite of my instincts for 2.5 years and endless stress and chaos? My hair has been thinning since the 3-month mark in our relationship. I've had brain fog and memory problems despite being known for my iron trap memory. Sleeping issues, weight fluctuations. My body has been physically rejecting this relationship. Somehow I either couldn't admit that it was him or I was really that out of it. I'm starting to try and unwind it all in therapy. I had 3 sessions so far and I'm scheduled weekly for the foreseeable future. What I have learned so far is that I was taught not to trust my feelings as a child by my dad, who is very likely a narcissist. I'm really excited to work on my toxic patterns and behaviours in therapy and make the relationship I have with myself better and my priority. We have been living in separate bedrooms for a couple of weeks. The initial confrontation was horrible and I hurled some really rough insults and names at him. A few weeks ago I was thinking I would have a final discussion about why we were breaking up and the logistics of him moving out, etc. It still almost felt like I was going to have to convince him that this was good enough reason to break up. After a deadline for work is over the next couple of days, I'm going to tell him the relationship is over because I want it to be, and I do. I'm going to offer to pay for movers so I have an exact date he will be gone. I'm nervous about his reaction and scared of what he might say to hurt me, but I've never been more certain that I'm making the right decision, so I know I'll be able to handle whatever happens. Again, thank you endlessly to anyone who took the time to comment on my original post or reached out. I felt seen and heard that day in a way that woke me up and nudged me to really start paying attention and stop turning everything inward. Oh, and one more thing, in my original post I played dumb about what he was insinuating when commenting about the shorts with a wet waistband. I was so paranoid at the time I wanted to see if other people came to the same conclusion that I had. When I reread my post, that stuck out to me as sad. Wow, what a story with a few twists and turns in there as well. My major concern is for OP's safety when she does reveal that she wants to break up. I would maybe, if you can, I know it's really hard in this current situation, move out for that period until he's at least out of the house and take your stuff with you so he can't do anything to it, because I'm not sure if I would trust this guy at all. He sounds like, I might be overstepping here, but he sounds like a dangerous person to me, but who knows. But Sedona says, I think you should have someone you trust present when you tell him it's over. And Throwaway says, my best friend's husband snapped one night and brutally murdered her and her unborn child. We don't know why, but I think she told him she was done as he was abusive. Do not be alone with this man when you break up with him. Also have a locksmith nearby to change the locks immediately after he's gone. Do you have a father or brothers who can be with you? And Oracle Toolkit says, I remember your original post. I'm so glad you were resolved to get away from this man and begin to heal. I'd be very cautious going forward. He's already shown you he is willing to lie, gaslight and manipulate you, and abusers are most dangerous when they think they are losing their control. Tell some friends what's going on so you have backup if necessary. Think about storing your most important documents and possessions elsewhere until he's gone. Get a lock for your door that only you have the key to. Don't spend time alone with him. And Patricia says, please be safe, please stay away, and preferably do the breakup by phone in a safe location, or at the very least with another person as a witness. Very rarely the women who got killed by their partners thought that they would be killed by their partner, and the family and friends are shocked and never expected it, and he was a good neighbor. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this scenario? Absolutely crazy one with some twists there, and I wasn't expecting it to go the way it did. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. Thank you for the time out of your day, for being involved in the channel. Really does mean the world to me. Thank you so, so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
I'm a whirling dervish, I always twirl on purpose. I'm so surface level, don't you look behind the curtains. I'm nervous like I'm Nelly. Kelly's so evil, he not a person. What would a good one consist of? I'm probably not as perfect. It's probably not in my bloodline. My faith lies as far as my fault is allowed, but truth I can tell.